Hello and welcome to episode 494 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now I know I say this quite a lot, but today's episode is huge, and it really is, for me personally, one of my favourite interviews I've ever done. As you can probably hear with the croak in my voice, I've just come back from Download Festival, and over the weekend I was invited to the dressing room of Gavin Rossdale from one of my favourite bands of all time, Bush. We got to sit down and finally record an episode, and I'm telling you now, the face-to-face interviews are always my favourite. To do it backstage at Download before they went on stage is a dream come true. And if you had found 16-year-old me and told him that when I was buying the album 16 Stone, I'd be one day sitting down with this absolute hero of mine, it really would have been just an absolute dream. So it's actually come true, and I'm so glad I get to share it with all of you out there, because it's blown any expectation I ever had from getting to sit down and interview Gavin. He is truly one of the best people I've ever met. He's so good with his words. He's a lyrical genius, and it was one of the best performances of the whole weekend seeing Bush at Download. But what I want to do, instead of keep building it up, is to get straight to it. It's so important to me, and I really hope you all enjoy it as much as me. So here is, backstage at Download Festival, me and Gavin Rossdale. So I've been waiting for probably 20 years as a 20-year-old person to say this. Gavin, welcome to the Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute honour. What I do with all guests that come on the podcast, and it doesn't matter if you're an actor, a director, a poet, I'm always interested. Remember when you were a child and you'd probably have a part-time job, or you'd do a paper round or something just to get some money. You go to the record store, you invest in that first album that you go home with. It might be terrible, it might be a guilty pleasure, it might be a stone cold classic. Do you remember that first one that you invested your money in, even to today?
Well, yeah, I mean, probably the most, yeah, for sure. That was, I grew up down the road from a record store called Manze's. It was on the Finchley Road in London. Yeah. And North London. And so I was lucky enough to kind of, any pocket money I'd ever get, we could go up there and get records and be schooled by the guys who ran the store. But probably the most important record that I got on that subject is from my aunt, who gave me a record, which was the first Bowie, Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, wow.
That record. And so
Jesus.
Where I grew up, everyone was listening to soul music, jazz, funk, doing up cortinas. And do you know what I mean? So it's like Bowie was like a secret guilty pleasure of all time. You sort of play with your life a little bit if you get into Bowie at that time.
Yeah, so, it's insane.
So just that record just opened up a world of sort of mystery and intrigue and getting lost in music. So I would have to put that as probably one of the most important records. But I was gifted that. I was very lucky.
That's amazing. And I think the foundations, even though I've done nearly 500 episodes, to start with Bowie, it's like, you're not going to get much better. You're like, your life's just going to be like, oh, well, we're going to go on a downward spiral now.
Well, there's other great people as well, of course.
Of course, but what a great foundation.
He's an incredible man. And we were lucky enough, we toured with him a couple of times, and South America, and I got to know him. And, they say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but in his case, it was a wonderful thing I did.
It's unbelievable. Now, when I was 13, my parents dropped me off at my first ever gig in Wolverhampton at the Wolfram Hall.
Oh.
And they were like, look, son, you can go to this gig, enjoy it, but you don't talk to any strangers. You don't go to anywhere else apart from this gig. You walk to the front, you watch the band, and we'll meet you back here.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, cool, Mum and Dad. Like, okay, I'll do that. And I did it, and I respected them. And I walked in, and there was this band on stage, a three-piece, and it was Green Day on their Dookie tour. And I was like, fuck me, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life. Even at that age, I was like, how are three people making this much noise?
Right.
Obviously, there were songs like When I Come Around and Basket Case, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Please, surely you're not going to turn around and tell me your first gig was David Bowie.
No, my first gigs were like my sister's boyfriend's band, which was just sort of a punk band for around our way. They were called the Nobodies.
The
with a Z.
Nobodies?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Sadly, they stayed unknown. But
Yeah, they never made it.
So they never made it. But that's where I sort of felt, you go to like pissy, stinky rehearsal rooms that are dark, dank, smell of old beer, cigarettes, whatever, desperation. And some people really hate those places for some reason. And I just helped load the stuff in, and like thought I was a special kind of kid, 14-year-old. I was a little bit older than you when you saw Green Day. Just carrying that stuff in and being in around that world, irrespective of the size of success, because I didn't really know about success at that point. That brought me to a life of that I loved all that kind of dirt and grime. In a weird way. So that was a really important thing for me. And then, the gigs came and went, but I started with the Nobodies and weird little pub gigs around North London, Islington and stuff like that. So that was where it began for me.
When was the moment, because obviously with the time we've got, we can never explore and talk about the history of Bush, because it would just take probably 2 or 3 hours. But were you a guy that went to college and did like Battle of the Bands and covers bands and all this sort of stuff? Were you exploring, or surely the first time you didn't get in a band was Bush?
No, that was my third band. I was in 2 other bands before, and one band when I left school, and I didn't play any music in that. I just sort of tried to sing on it and this and that, and it was okay. And then I was in the second band where I kind of figured out what band I think I didn't want to be in. He's an amazing guitar player, but very bluesy, very rock blues. And so when I began Bush, it was the first time that I played guitar in my bands. And so I always kept away from the blues after that, which is a little known fact about Bush. We don't really use the blues. It's a bit of a slide on the first record, but outside of that, that's just a sound. I don't use blues changes, no blues stuff in there, which for rock bands is kind of, it's interesting to do it like that.
It's incredible. And what's weird is because when I started this podcast 9 years ago, I made a list of all the bands I wanted to interview. But at that point, you kind of dream, and I was putting stuff like Deftones, and I was putting all these bands on. And this is the God's honest truth, and these two will back me up on this. I didn't put Bush on there because I didn't think it was achievable. So, when I was 20, when I went out and I bought your album 16 Stone, when I'm talking to you about albums and bands that changed your life, it's hard to say without sounding like a fanboy, but the God's honest truth is that album changed my life. I went out on CD from Virgin Megastore. I'd probably done like a week's work to try and make 20 quid. I bought your album, and the first time I heard Machine Head and that guitar riff at the start, the hairs on my neck stuck up, and I truly couldn't believe the way the chord progression was doing those 2 main root notes, but it was still continuing the same chordation of the guitar. And that for me was like, fuck me, this is the music I've been exploring. This is what I've wanted. So even though I was listening to Green Day, even though I love, Nirvana, Nevermind, and Guns N' Roses, that was the first time I heard an album and the distortion on the guitar and your vocals that all brought it together and made me think, this is the music that I've been looking for. Everything else led to that point.
Wow.
It was a magical moment. And I wondered when you were recording that album, because obviously as a debut, you put your heart, your soul, but there's probably no expectations at that point because you're just thinking to yourself, I just want to get the album, the name Bush out there and start people exploring. Did you have any expectations or even kind of milestones in your head that you wanted to achieve with that debut?
Well, you thank you for the question and saying that. It was very, very kind of you. The wild thing is that I was sort of too dumb and I didn't know what the potential was. And what I thought was the coolest thing, what seemed really, really difficult, was just getting a fucking record deal.
Yeah.
And you'd be out in clubs out in London, and I'd see the different A&R men. I think, God, he could change my life if only he could believe in me.
This could be the man that changes my whole.
And then I'd see someone walk in you didn't know, and they'd be, they're in a band, they're signed, and so everything like that was elusive. So to just get the record and to make it, and I made it at West Side Studios in West London, and then I went back to work after that. I worked for 4 months after that.
Yeah.
Painting and decorating, and I didn't really. I just thought, well, I've made the record now, and I felt really proud of that. So I kind of had my sights really low.
Yeah.
It just was the fact of making a record was the most exciting thing I could imagine. My aunt, who I spoke about earlier, who gave me that Bowie record, she had a friend of hers called Colin Scott, and he had a record. But he still came around our house to meet us, and I couldn't believe that someone who'd made a real record came to our house. So to me, I was just on that journey of like, just make the fucking record, and then it's wild how life takes over at that point, and life really did take over, and I'll be playing Machine Head today. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to play that. You made the hairs on my neck stand up when you said that.
It's the album for me that like changed it forever, because then I was like, this is an album because Little Things, you know, Come Down. Every song on that album could be released as a single. That's how epic it is. And I wondered then, when it actually started to get that momentum and you started to see the crowds getting bigger, and you must have not worked for too much longer, and then you were going to shows and people are singing those songs back to you, those incredible choruses and those melodies, you must have thought like, this is the moment maybe I don't have to go back to work. This is the moment that maybe my uncle is not going to be the only guy that comes to the house with his own record that's done well,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, it was, and I don't know how to put this. It don't want to sound too weird, but like, basically, it was ending up being where I'm meant to. I felt like I was where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, I always felt really frustrated with life and like misunderstood, and I couldn't get myself heard, literally, and I just figured that everyone had it wrong, and even if they're, you know, at that point my voice was always blamed as the reason why people didn't want to pursue anything with me, and so I had to take a lot of battering, and for some people that might kind of knock the life out of you, but for some reason I was just like durable enough. I'm half Scottish, right? So I'm a McGregor, so I think you got to kill me in a fight or else I'm going to keep getting back up, and that's all that happened.
That's amazing. And I suppose, when was the moment that, I think for anyone that goes home and says to their parents, Mum, Dad, I want to be a rock star, I want to be in a band, I want to make it. I think for some parents, they're like, look, son, you need to get a real job. And then if that doesn't happen, you know, this dream of being a rock star is not maybe going to actually happen. Did you have the full support? Were they like, we trust in you, son, you can go and do this? Or was it a constant battle with them, never mind the industry, never mind the fucking public? Was there an internal battle straight away?
I grew up with my dad, so it was only my dad I was talking to, and I think that he was just too busy to sort of overly care. I mean, he cared, but I sort of had this like thirst for the world, and sort of ran out of school. I didn't go to college. I ran out of school, and I just wanted to get on with life. And I remember being arrogant enough to say to him, look, I just have to write these words. That's going to be my job. Like a real twat. Like, I can't believe I even
He's
said
looking
that
at
to
you
him.
like, are you
and
serious,
the poor guy
son?
must have been like, fuck me, this kid. What am I going to do with him? But he left me alone just to do it. And I think his position was that I was going to find my way. It got to a point where I'd been doing it long enough that everyone was like, felt a bit sorry for me. I wasn't like a black sheep. I was almost like the sad sheep of the family. Oh,
Yeah.
He's still singing.
Here he is again,
He's
still going.
singing. You know, I remember saying to, I remember my Scottish grandmother, I was like, I'm going to write a ballad. She goes, don't be ridiculous. You'll never write ballads like that. And Glycerine's the biggest
You're not
song we
Celine
have.
Dion.
And I was thinking, that's not what a grandmother's meant to say, but she said it. She's Scottish, a bit harder, you know. And so, yeah, I just did it no matter what. I just felt that Johnny Lydon had the answers, Jim Morrison had the answers, Neil Young had the answers, Bob Dylan had the answers. I loved the Sex Pistols, and I just thought being in a band was the coolest thing. But in such a brilliantly youthful ignorance, in that I didn't take the idea any further than the end of that sentence, really. I didn't really understand. It was a bit of an abyss after that, because when you grew up in London, to me, all the best bands played at all the clubs around. You know, it was like the Pixies, throwing music. I saw the Jane's Addiction at the Acklam Hall in Portobello, like 300 people. To me, it was I didn't realize that arenas could, or big festivals. I just lived in a very small bubble in my head. I may still do.
Yeah.
But I'm consistently surprised at this ability to just still keep doing this and loving it. And to be honest, I will state this for the record: this band is better than ever. I know that sounds stupid, and then time is gone, and who cares? And there's so many brilliant new bands out there. But just for my own sort of peace of mind, I know that we've never been better.
That's amazing to be able to say that. And I
I mean
suppose
it.
what I was interested in is, you've released this album, it's starting to get momentum, the reviews are strong, everyone's starting to be like, Bush are going to be fucking huge. You're starting to really see probably more people at the shows, more people singing back the songs, more people buying your merch. What's the moment that's enough for you to know that that was enough to then say, this is the job, this is my life, this is going to be music for me forever. I've made the right choice and it's all worthwhile.
I mean, to be honest, I think that I love your questions, by the way. Thank you. I think that when I did the first show in CBGB's, I never played to an audience that knew the music, and we had a song at radio then. So just going to that show, playing that show, and the history of that place, of CBGB's, which is now John Vivato's shop, actually, which is a bit sad. But at least he bought it and maintained it while he was still doing it. All the best bands have gone through there, from Television, Sonic Youth, all the Pumpkins, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. They all play these places. So when I started on that tour, I couldn't believe I was playing the same venues they'd been here the week before.
Yeah.
And it was packed. And I remember not being able to it took a long time to get through the crowd because we went out for getting something to eat. Coming back through the crowd was really difficult. And I just thought, well, fuck me, something's happening. And I think that when you get that, for any band, when you get a bite of that, you just try and you just maneuver your life to just hold on to that feeling and still do it. And so I think that's what it was. And I had such a great setup with the people helping us. A small independent label in the Valley, no other bands on it, just a guy starting up. But he was so into it and pushed it so hard that I was never in any doubt that I should just continue doing that. And across this really, really long career, I think there's certain times where I've probably lost my way, trodden water a little bit, maybe not pushed myself as much. But since probably for a good few years, since Black and White Rainbow's record, I just feel like I've really pushed myself to just challenge myself to make the best records I can. So it's ironic, but I think the records just are really good and really strong. So I'm really proud of that, and I just enjoy it a lot. I just really like it.
It's amazing, man.
To
still be doing it, and I think
no,
it's incredible.
Borderline embarrassing.
No, it's not. It's if you still got that passion, that drive, that's something that you can never lose. And I think where I was trying to think today, when I was thinking I'm going to speak to Gavin today, which for me is still like surreal. I was thinking to myself, you released this album, it does really well. You've put your blood, heart, and soul and sweat into this debut because that's been building. That's the first chance you ever get, and the only chance to leave a mark on the industry. You've then got the pressure of a follow-up. And some bands crumble under the pressure. Some bands just walk away and think, I can't do it. Or they just copy and paste the first album again for another 12 tracks.
Yeah.
You come back, Razorblade Suitcase, absolutely epic, but you still are progressing as musicians. You're evolving as a songwriter. Your lyrics are now on another level. But the pressure on your shoulders to go into the studio and try and top what you've done, because you don't want to just be like, oh, well, this'll do.
Right.
What was it like in your head thinking, fucking hell, we need to now make another mark on the industry because we've let the bar be high?
Yeah, it was just exciting. I couldn't believe that Steve Albini agreed to do the record because I was such a big fan of all of his work. And so that was what blew me away. The excitement of working with Steve. Oftentimes I wish I had a bit more time to write for that record, and I felt it was probably a bit rushed, but I'm just really proud of that. I'm proud of the friendship that I sustained with Steve. And, for me, music is just a brilliant voyage. Like, I know a lot about music, and there's massive grey areas. And I think the most interesting stuff comes out of the grey areas.
Yeah.
And that alchemy of things. And so for me, it's like a constant challenge to just try and be as interesting to myself and as exciting to myself as a lot of young bands that I think are really amazing and very inspiring. And one thing that I'm sort of proud about us is that I've never rested on anything. I've always pushed myself. I still do. It's torturous writing new songs and finding new ways to be good. And basically be surprising, and nothing is the same. I didn't know, actually. It's funny you said that, because sometimes I used to think to myself, fuck, if I just done 16 Stone backwards for the second record, I could be headlining Download. But instead I chose a sort of a maverick course of just finding different records, different things that inspired me at different times. And in a weird way, it sort of allowed me to sustain this interest and this passion. And, I've been on this tour, I've been playing a lot recently off of this record, I Beat Loneliness. And it just makes me, it's weird having bought the record out last year, be on tour, see some great bands out there, reflect on our own show, and just think about what I could do better. And it's funny because sometimes people come up to me, they say, what advice would you give? And you referenced it earlier, weirdly. What advice would you give to us? And it's all I ever do, and that is try to make the music that I want to hear.
Which is never easy.
No, but it's like, that's the challenge. So like, I can make a track at home and it functions, but I go, no. So every track, whether people like it or not, I've sort of challenged myself. Do I want to hear that when I play that back? Is that sort of exciting when I'm in the car just driving nowhere? Is that what I want to hear and want to listen to? And at the time it is. And then weirdly, take a year, of touring like we've done, I'm itching to go back to get right what I think I can change, what I can do. And I'm in the middle of that headspace now. I've written a bunch of new songs, but I go, oh, they weren't right, got to go back to that. So I just find it really fascinating. I think it's like creativity. I do it because it saves me. I do it because it is an outlet. And I think if I didn't have that outlet, I don't know who would suffer the most, but maybe myself. So I find it really good, like cathartic. It's like having a tap, and it's just exciting. And the funniest thing is that I just laugh at the fact that I'm just keep getting making the music heavier and heavier, because it's just so much more fun than like trying to sort of do campfire music, which some people do really well.
Of course, yeah.
But I just want to do stuff that is just like makes me laugh because it's so heavy.
So when you're having this internal battle with yourself to keep on going, to keep on topping, the fact that you love and think you're releasing the best music and enjoying it more than ever, when do you think that kind of flame ever burns out? Or does it never, because it's been here and gone for 20, 25 years?
Yeah, I hope it never does. I mean, it's not like I want to die on stage, but I kind of, I thought we were going back to Bowie. He released, was it Black Star on the Friday, 70th birthday on the weekend, then died on the Monday or something. This sort of like crazy.
Yeah, what a week.
That is one of his greatest records.
Yeah.
So for me, he's ever inspiring. And really, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because, it's not about what other people think. It's about challenging yourself. Life is the best lesson that anyone can take out of life is that no one else really cares.
It's so true.
You make your own way. And I meet people every day. Like I feel very nervous playing this festival. I don't know who knows me, who cares. I just don't know what it is. But I just did a tent signing for over there for Radio 1. And I was just blown away by all the comments that people made to me and the way they hugged me. Because even though I've had all the success, I've never, I see through myself.
Yeah.
I know who I am. So, and some people are like born amazingly confident, and I have a certain degree of confidence that I'm prepared to lay myself bare on stage, but not enough confidence to think that I'm the shit and people have got to come and check it out. I'm just an evolving person.
It's wonderful, and I don't think that will ever end. And I think even when you're 98 and you're on deathbed, you'll have an acoustic guitar saying, I've got one more idea.
Yeah, now I'll do the mellow stuff.
Yeah, now I'm finally doing campfire music.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with campfire music. I mean, look, Zach Bryan, my son plays me Zach Bryan, and that is like...
His track with Casey Musgraves is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard.
Beautiful songs. It's not like I won't do that, but I write these songs and I put them on records, and then I don't get a chance to play them live. And I have a bit of a disconnect with that. I like being able to play them all live at some point. Not boring people only with the new material, but I like being able to just show what I'm thinking today or what I'm writing today. So and that's a permanent battle that I have of what songs to play. I had a brilliant experience the other day. I was in Hamburg, and this girl, I was outside and I was just around the back smoking a joint on my own, just like having a moment, you know.
Yeah.
And someone comes around the back and, can I have a picture? I say, all right. I feel bad because I'm all stinky, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm standing with her, and I say, listen, you could really help me. I'm going through the set. Just tell me, if you could write the set list, what are your favorite records you
My
had?
God.
And she goes, for me, it was records 2 and 3. So I was thinking to myself, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. She couldn't give a fuck about.
Yeah. Fucking hell. And she said nothing off
like,
album 1.
I was like, that's the last time I hired anyone to talk about the set. Because you got to do your thing. You have to do your thing. You know, I don't want to bore anyone. Like, I never want to be like, fuck all that history. This is the best we got. It's not.
Here's
that.
our new album in its entirety.
Yeah, you got to love it. Wait for the funny stuff. It's like you just got to like be able to perform. Like I wrote a set today that was just geared towards playing at 5 o'clock here at this festival full of people who are not here to see us, and that takes energy. And so you know, for good or for bad, I've written a specific set that's like, I don't know, the best I could come up with today.
You've told me Machine Head's in it, so I'm pleased. Anything else is a bonus.
Yeah, Machine Head is definitely in it.
Amazing. I'm conscious of time. I would love to talk to you for hours, but I know that someone will knock on the door in a minute and tell me, oi, you're taking the piss.
Well, I've got a homeless band out there. They're like, in the wind. They're
like,
good.
oh, we want to come in
and
drink the whiskey. But what I do on this podcast, and I've done it every episode, even if it's an actor, a director, a musician, I end the episode with the artist choosing the music that's played at the outro. So what will happen is, hello, welcome to Mark and Me. It'll have a snippet of Bush. It'll have our half-an-hour interview. It will then have a song that plays at the very end. Now, the reason I give this to you is because one song will come to your heart and your soul above any other song. But this is not a Bush song. This is a song that means a lot to you. In the history of music, when I ask you literally the question now, Gavin, I know it's tough. I'm an absolute arsehole. What song would you love to play out on Mark and Me with Bush, live at Download, to be the final song on today's episode?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on this episode. I really, really enjoyed it. There's so many songs that mean so much to me, but there's one song of the moment that has really been chasing me for ear candy and for the connection that it has had with people, and that it's weird because I don't overly know so much about this band. I know they're great, they're massive, doing fantastic, but that I think it sums up for a lot of people that express themselves. This song is a staggering song, and you know, as musicians, we all want to make songs where you find the kryptonite, and this of the moment is, I don't know if it's the greatest song ever, but it's a fantastic song. It's captured kryptonite, and that is the Bring Me the Horizon, Can You Feel My Heart.
I was not expecting that. You were building it, but that band are getting bigger, better. One of my close friends produced that album recently, Dan Lancaster. He's a genius. He's been working with Muse and stuff, but they deserve every ounce of fucking credibility and songwriting and musicianship, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, so
Absolutely
I think that
mind-blowing.
simple phrase of "Can you feel my heart" is exactly what every single person on every stage around the world is doing. So for that reason, I think they deserve to end this incredible podcast.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, and what I want to say is truly, and you know, people come in, they do press, they work for radio, they come in, hey Gavin, answer these few questions, thanks, bye-bye. But what I do with this podcast is every time I record an episode, I have my dad on for episode 200. I've had like Kevin Smith, I've had Aubrey Plaza, all these people, but it's my way of kind of taking a photograph in the moment. And when the podcast has gone, or people have lost, or family have gone, no one can take that from me. And this moment is a photograph of me of 18-year-old me went and bought that album, and now I'm sat with Gavin Rossdale talking about these albums. It's an experience that no one can ever take, but we've left a mark in history of this was this moment, and we've captured it. And from the bottom of my heart, without sounding like a fucking soppy little emo shit.
No, don't stop, keep going.
I truly mean, I am so fucking grateful for your time today. And this is a moment for me when I do podcasting, and that's why I brought Penny and Todd. Like, it's captured a moment that will stay with me forever. So 20 minutes of your time is something that will be cherished forever. So thank you.
Thank you.
So there it is. There's me and Gavin Rossdale talking all things Bush. Now, it's weird, isn't it, when you're growing up and then you start podcasting and you get your equipment and you make a list of bands you would love and dream guests. And some people say, never meet your heroes, or, go in there with really low expectations. Gavin Rossdale, for me, is one of the greatest songwriters truly out there. Hearing Machine Head when I first ever wanted to get into a band live, and hearing that guitar riff absolutely stayed with me forever. 16 Stone is a stone cold masterpiece. One of the best debut albums for me in music. It means that much to me personally. So when I got to sit down with him, he was everything and more that I could ever even dream of. And that's unbelievable to be able to say that. So I want to thank you now, Gavin, if you are listening back to this. And if you're not, we had a personal moment after the interview that meant a lot for me that doesn't need to be shared with the world. But it was incredible what you said to me. And you know how much this interview meant to me. So thank you so much for your time. And like I said, it's truly something I'll keep forever. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it too at home. And I want to give a special shout out to my good friend Penny, who was there with me, with my good friend Todd, watched the interview, took photos. And I think we're pretty blown away by being in that kind of dressing room with us all, and I just feel that there was something magical that happened that we all know that we're going to keep with us forever, that's just for us. It was that special. And as always, guys, if you're listening to this and it's the first time you've tuned into Mark and Me, there's nearly 500 episodes waiting for you, sitting there on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to dig into. I really believe I've got something for everyone, and it's going to be a very busy week after download, so expect loads more interviews over the next few days. But what I do ask in return for these podcasts, which will always be free, is just to share them. You all have Facebook, you all have Twitter, you all have Instagram. Please share it. It's gone absolutely insane over the last couple of days because I met with Keanu Reeves and Fred Durst at Download, and the pictures have gone absolutely mad. But I want these episodes to be just as popular. So if you are listening to this, please take the time to share it because it really goes a long way. And before I go, I have two sponsors I'd like to give a shout out to. Starting with Richer Sounds. If you want anything to do with TVs, videos, audios, anything like that, go on richersounds.com or visit any of their high street stores. And lastly, Vice Press. If you want to get yourself a poster or a print that's licensed and official by the best artists all over the world, go to vicepress.com, add anything to your basket, and use the discount code MarkandMe26 for 10% off your purchase. It's that simple. Right, guys, I've got a lot of editing to do. I've got so much to come out over this week after a whole weekend at Download. And trust me, there's going to be some incredible surprises for you all and so many bands. But I'll leave by saying thank you so much for everyone taking the time to listen to today. I'm sure you can hear it just how important this episode was for me, how much it truly means to me. So look after yourself, take care, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
scared to get close, and I hate being alone. I long for that feeling to not feel at all. The higher I get, the lower I'll sink. I can't drown my demons, they know how to swim. I'm scared to get close, and I hate